Hi, I'm Chad Huebener.
And I'm Sara Huebener with Edina Realty, and today we are sitting here with Shane Hofmann from Edina Realty Mortgage, and we are going to be talking about interest rates. That seems to be the hot button and the hot topic in the real estate market right now, and so we brought Shane on today to give us some insight into how to respond to the question, what are the rates? And tell me about how the rates are affecting the market and my mortgage payment.
Sure. So I think, we get asked a lot, to your point, is what's the rate? And my answer always is it depends, right? You see banks and mortgage companies will post rates to give kind of a general idea of where things are at. But that doesn't mean that's just the rate for everybody, essentially. So it does come down to what's your loan type? Are we doing an FHA loan versus a conventional loan? Are we going VA? So the loan type can matter. The big thing though is usually credit score. What does your credit score look like? And depending on, if they want to, tell you what that is, that's going to change things a little bit. But those are some of the questions that I ask. Sometimes it'll matter how much you're putting down, right? So now we have seen a big shift in rate, of course. It's just been more fluctuating than ever this year. Like in years past, when we look at rates, if things change, it's maybe by 0.25%. And this year we've seen a few points in rate, right, in a matter of a few months. And so you guys, that really does change somebody's price point, and that's where people have had to make a shift in either their buying power or just the ability to handle more of a payment if they want to buy at that same price.
So what about points? If we hear the comment about points, if a buyer is really driven on a certain rate or feels more comfortable with a certain rate, can everybody pay points to bring their rate down, or how does that work?
Yeah, they can. And that's where I think that's become more of a conversation than ever, probably just especially over the last 5-6 years. Just rates have been so low that it hasn't made a ton of sense to spend more money to get an even better rate, right? Well, now when we start to see rates 5, 6, that's when points have become more of a conversation. So really what I do just personally is anytime that somebody's looking at rates, I will say, well, here's kind of our base rate, right? And here's if you pay a 1/4 point, here's maybe an additional rate, or here if you want to pay a full point, now maybe we can get your rate down a 1/2 point or something along those lines. So you're right in the fact that if somebody is willing to spend a little bit of money up front, then they can improve the rate a little bit. So then it becomes a little bit of a math equation of just like, okay, how long will I be in the house? Yeah. What's the additional cost up front compared to what that will do to my payment? And then you just kind of make a decision from there. So,
and I think too that comes to offers and how we present offers to sellers, and the word we haven't heard in many years, closing costs.
Yeah.
So there are things that we can do with seller paid closing costs, whether it's increasing a sales price to tie in some closing costs to work with the financing. So those are just a lot of things that we're seeing now that are going to come back into the market.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those things weren't even on the table for a couple of years, so it's kind of interesting to have those conversations again. So.
And I think it's interesting just to add and maybe even wrap up with is that we've had such a long period, a decade almost, of incredibly low rates that to some people the 5-6% rates seem very high, but historically they are very low rates. And we are continuing to see people who move based on lifestyle changes, their need for their housing changes. And so people are still buying and selling. The rates are not debilitating the market by any stretch. Right. So that's something very important to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So if we can answer any questions for you about rates, or if we can have Shane answer anything, please reach out to us. We're happy to answer those. And if you have any future video topics that you would like us to address, feel free to suggest those as well. Thanks for watching.